All right, let's pull back the curtain on the single most important piece of software running on your phone, your laptop, your car, pretty much everything you own. It's the real unsung hero of our digital world.
So let me ask you something. When you think about your computer, what do you think is the most important program on it? Is it your web browser? A video game maybe? That photo editing software you love?
Well, whatever you were thinking, I can pretty much guarantee it's not this guy. And as fun as that would be, the real answer is something that works so well you almost never even have to think about it.
To really get why it's so important, I want you to picture this. Your computer's hardware, the processor, the memory, the storage, it's like a room full of brilliant musicians. Each one is a total virtuoso. But without a conductor, all you're going to get is noise, just chaos.
That conductor, the one program that brings all those powerful, chaotic parts together and makes them work in perfect harmony, well, that is the operating system, the OS.
So the official textbook definition calls an OS an intermediary, which, sounds a little dry. A much better way to think of it is as a translator, right? You can't speak directly to your computer's processor, and it definitely can't speak to you. The OS is that critical go-between that makes all that communication even possible. And this right here, this visualizes that idea perfectly. Just look at the structure. Way down at the bottom, you have the actual physical computer hardware. And way up at the top, that's you, the user. And sitting right there in that crucial middle layer, managing absolutely everything, is the operating system. We can actually break this down into 4 distinct layers. So layer 1, at the very bottom, is the hardware itself, the CPU, memory, all the physical bits and pieces. Then on top of that, you have the OS, whose whole job is to control and coordinate all that hardware. Layer 3 is your applications, your browser, your games, whatever, and they all have to rely on the OS to function. And then finally, at the very top, there's you, using those apps to get stuff done. So if the OS is a manager, what's its mission exactly? What's its job description? Well, it's constantly performing this really delicate balancing act between 2 very important and sometimes competing goals. See, on the one hand, the OS's job is all about making the computer easy for you. It needs to run your programs, solve your problems, and just work. But on the other hand, it has to manage the hardware in the most efficient way possible, making sure no resources go to waste. It's basically serving 2 masters at once, you and the machine itself. But here's where it gets really interesting. That balancing act, it looks completely different depending on the device. The OS has to change its priorities based on the job it's designed to do. Just take a look at this. For a giant shared server in a data center, the OS is obsessed with efficiency and fairness, making sure every single user gets their fair slice of the computing power. But for your smartphone, the OS cares way more about usability, and, this is a big one, battery life. And then you have something like the computer in your car. Its number 1 most important goal is just rock-solid reliability, running completely on its own. It's the same basic job, but with totally different priorities. Okay, so we know what the OS does and why it does it, but how does it actually pull it off? How does it conduct that hardware orchestra?
This gives us a great map of the challenge. You've got the CPU, you've got memory, the disk controller, the USB controller for your keyboard and mouse. All of these separate, specialized parts have to somehow talk to each other and work together. And they're all connected by that main highway in the middle, the system bus.
So let's quickly break down the key players here. The CPU is the brain, right? It's doing the actual thinking. Memory is its short-term workspace. Then you have these device controllers, which are like little managers for each specific part. And the system bus, that's the data highway that lets them all communicate.
You can see how this could get chaotic fast. You've got your mouse clicking, your keyboard typing, your hard drive spinning, all happening at the exact same time. How in the world does the OS know what to pay attention to and when?
The answer is a really simple but absolutely brilliant mechanism called an interrupt. And it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's a signal from a piece of hardware that literally interrupts the CPU to say, hey, I need you to deal with something right now. Honestly, the best way to think about it is like a classroom. Every single time you press a key on your keyboard or move your mouse, that device controller raises its hand by sending an interrupt signal. The OS sees the hand go up, it pauses what it's doing, handles the request from the keyboard or mouse, and then gets right back to work. It's the system that maintains order in the middle of all that chaos.
And this brings us to our final, and maybe most crucial point. This fundamental idea of a manager controlling hardware, it isn't just for our computers. It is, and I mean this quite literally, everywhere.
Just look at this list for a second. We're talking cars and airplanes, game consoles, even your toaster and your washing machine. From the massive industrial systems that run entire factories to the spacecraft exploring our solar system, they all run on an operating system.
So the next time you use your smart TV to watch a show, or you trust your car's anti-lock brakes in an emergency, just remember, there's a hidden, super specialized operating system working silently in the background, conducting its own little hardware orchestra to make it all happen.
The OS started out by managing these massive military computers. Then it moved to our desktops. Then it shrank down into our pockets. And now? Now it's in almost every object around us. It's the invisible layer that truly runs our modern world. Which leaves us with just one final thought. It's already everywhere, so what on earth will it be managing next?